Welcome. Thank you for tuning NeptuneKnives. So before I start working on the HEST video, I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with the D2 steel. As of this moment right now, I'm undecided whether or not I will carry the line steel HEST. Mr. Robert M. Pilkington's HEST. I also bought his book, The World's Most Dangerous Places, so I'm going to check that out, get a little more idea of the individual. Now, first, I can say a couple things. The coating is really tough because when I was sharpening it, I was running it over the stones and stuff, and eventually, after quite a lot of passes, it finally, like a strip came off. Because you can see, here's the factory edge on the top. Here's a brand new one. And it was really grainy, just like, to me, poorly done. And I will say that, like, as I get better at sharpening and stuff, I've noticed that a lot of factory edges aren't as hot, or as great in reality as like a homemade edge when done right. And I'm no expert on this, just but I thought I'd make a little video trying to show the difference in quality. If I can get this to focus. Now, a lot of people do put down D2, and even I myself, can you see all the vertical grains on the edge? But note the bevel height, and but I can say, man, line steel D2 is tough. Like originally, this factory edge is, even though it's a very short relief edge, it's not even. When they ground it, there was some movement like this. And on this one, I was trying to get it even. It took a long time on my fine diamond stones, which you can see, like, see, there's of course the human error in there. And I note that these Falkniven stones, because of their width, they always cause a little area right there to always get kind of sloppy. So here you can see. Since it took a long time on the fine, and then what the Falkniven call that ceramic that they have, to give it more of a clean polish. And on mine, I've actually done here, since it's a Tonto, I gave it a shallower angle here for slicing, and then you can see the bevel here is much shorter, the transition, which I use the tip for more bulk penetrating. So it's kind of neat to have two cutting edges on one knife. Definitely a thing I like about Tontos. But now that I think about it, I probably would have rather had the tip be shallow and then the belly be bulkier, so I could done the bulk cutting with this and then the piercing with that. But it is what it is now. When usually, heck, when the tips are usually ones that, when you drop a knife, they chip. So it's probably better that this part's shallow, so this way I can this part is obtuse, so that I can easily fix it. So here you can see, like here, this one, you can see the bevel start off like that, and then mine. Let's see. No. Okay. So anyway, so beyond my BBR one, let's see. I wanted to get this video out of the way. So I was testing the HEST and I dropped it. Well, it fell on a rock, and that's fine because I still want to know, how it holds up. And I feel the D2 of line steels is really tough stuff. Like initially, the stuff is like I noticed that there was a microchipping along the edges. That like that very razor thin edge would roll over. It wouldn't roll over. It would just, like, there'd be gaps all of a sudden. You'd be sharpening, all of a sudden you would see like missing portions. And I don't know whether that's from their process of making it. There's heat damage along the edge. I don't know. But regardless, as I got this knife from Jobin, and Jobin had touched it up, but ever since then I've beaten it up a lot, and I need to sharpen it. So I have a chip in it that I'm going to try to get out. Well, first of all, this is my BBR. Further back in the frame. I always have to use a beat up magazine. It's all wrinkled and I think it even has water spots on it. Still could use some work. So long as I can do the, what's it called, the little wavy cut, I'm happy. Okay, regardless, so that's the lion steel. Now let's go to the BBR ones. Now let's go to the HEST, which is, let me show you. So this coating, like I said, is strong stuff. And I've tried to wipe that off. That's actually somehow like, it's like buffing the coating or something, I don't know. Let's see. These videos are always too long. That's why I always hesitate to do these kind of videos, but regardless, here's the chip up front, if you can see. There, you see it. And in terms of sharpness, some comparison to my BBR1. Okay, so regardless, dull. So here's my little sharpening kit that I use all the time, and I just like to always just use this because this is what I have to use when I'm outside, and just keep building on those fundamentals. This the denim, which will take forever to strop, so I'm going to avoid stropping the denim. And I don't use compound, but I probably should put compound on this piece of denim at some point. But this is a Falkniven DC3 stone, and the top side is diamond. So I'm definitely going to use the diamond to try to get out that initial microchip. I might even do the whole edge. Let's see if I can get a good wrist. Let me put it on a book. Give me some height to work with. Get my wrist in. Move background. Background's no frame. Okay. Now, I still feel that this D2 stuff is harder to work with than S30V. I really noticed that S30V is easier to sharpen than this D2, so D2's Rockwell, someone had said that D2's Rockwell is pretty high, and so they're like, why did I say it's soft? All I can say is on this lion steel D2, wow, it's hard. And without a polished edge, like the way the BBR1 comes, there's that possibility of rust forming inside that grainage, which happened to my BBR1. So for anyone who collected, you know, Florida Raptor, you know, he knows. Well, he already polished his and stuff. And Jackson, same thing with yours. You know that edge when you see it. If you're gonna like keep it, you know, for decorative purposes, I do suggest you go in there and buff up the edge. So I'm giving it a very high angle, and that's because, like I said, being that this is probably a knife that's gonna see a lot more damage, I want a more obtuse angle, so this way when I sharpen I don't have to remove less, and I don't have to make the bevel larger and larger and go further back onto the blade. I don't think there's a way to do this better on camera with my right hand. Sorry guys. You see the chip is really deep. You see? Like I said, it fell on a rock. Look at that. So remove more material, starting to uncover. But look, you see the rest of the edge right now. Okay, so the rest of the paper is okay. So regardless, let me keep trying to get that chip out. So I'm trying to note right now which side the bevel is starting to look larger, thicker, and wider. If, for example, there's more reflection, it's more like this on this side, then I'm going to start focusing on sharpening this side down so it pushes, removes the material on this, then it'll kind of balance. That's my way of keeping track. Along with seeing how the reflection is. Like I say, a lot of people have their setups, sandpaper and other things, and like I said, this little 3-inch stone sucks. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it's a 3-inch working space. It's very compact. Like I said, I gave Mel, we bought our inventory of it after seeing I think a couple of reviews of it, wanted to try it. It just seemed like the perfect combination of diamond, which is capable of reprofiling, and then ceramic, which is enough for touching up. And I got it, but of course, I didn't want to, I want to have like 2 different ones, try it. Plus, I ordered at first just two 3-inch DC3s and 2 Falkniven DC4s, and so I didn't want to take both DC4s and then only have DC3s for stock. So I kept the DC3, Mel kept the DC4, and definitely the 4-inch provides more workspace. This is, per stroke I have to do lots of little strokes to get this. Get this chip out. I hate chips. They're very problematic. And I'm still more proficient with my right hand. You can see I'm taking it up even higher just to really get that edge. And I'll accept blunting that area if to just dig into that chip. Like I said, I don't know how long this will take. I feel that you can see then this is a fine diamond stone. Of course, if I used a more harsher stone, I would get through this faster. But I noticed that once you start using more coarse stones, it starts to dig in, it starts to create little grain marks, basically cut literally into the edge. And then after that, as you move up to the next grit or the next stone, it starts to, you have to kind of undo that mess and smooth it all out again. So this is more time consuming, but I like this because then it starts to lead closer towards my end result, which I want is more of a polished surface on the edge. And also doing this way, if I make a mistake, it's not dramatic, which a sharper diamond stone can do. So you can see, as I keep going at it, you can see how tough this D2 is. You can see, really ridiculously tough stuff. I think. It's in the frame. So let me keep working at it. Let's see. I'll go at this side. Oh, note too on these Falkniven DC3 stones, the diamond coating can start to wear, definitely. So it's not gonna last you forever, but for the price, the ceramic side lasts great. It's like some kind of synthetic, they said, and it is some kind of different material. It's very interesting. It's much better than even the Lansky ultrafine rods. I do like this Falkniven stone. I think it's very good stuff. Very good stuff. At least it has a more wider working surface, I think roughly 1 inch, so that you do have the ability to do flat surface edges. Because when you do like a sharp maker or something where there's a point like this, you can kind of start to wave as you pull your blade across. This way at least there's a flat surface you can push down on. Like I said, the only flaw to it is just the diamond coating doesn't last. Mine is pretty beat up stone. You see. Let's see. Getting there. Actually, how I chipped it was I threw the HEST. So anyway, I threw it, and of course I hit something that wasn't supposed to hit. But really, D2 is some tough stuff. Heck, I mean, I want to say it's just tougher than S30, but it's just, you know, according to spec sheets it's not, but according to personal experience, at least this Lion Steel D2 is like resilient. I mean, if this was S30V by now, you know, taking it to a diamond rod, and with me applying the pressure that I'm applying, bevel angle, the trick would be obviously to take it to a diamond and push very hard, because it'll quickly remove and make that straight, flat surface that you want. And regardless, even though this is fine diamond, you can see like how much work it takes just to dig into it. And it really is something else. Okay, I think I finally got somewhere remotely towards getting rid of that chip. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple passes just to kind of hopefully balance it all out. This blade has a very large belly curve, and so I would say curves are very difficult to work with, in my opinion, you know, because it requires more wrist coordination. You know, they say Tontos require an expert perhaps to sharpen, but I think Tontos are easier. Now, to really go in there and match all the bevels up, it's going to take some time after, but because I've spoken so much on the front area, it's very likely the back area is not even, the bevel is not matched with the front area. But let's see. There's a transition all of a sudden to that front angle. The camera. Let's see. Oh no, this is a 5mm blade. So this is if someone were to say, can SMF flat ground 5mm blade slice? Yeah, I can slice. Okay, so you know what? I'm fine with that. I'm gonna take it now to the ceramic and polish it up just somewhat. Like I said, where it is it's now there's this transition area, because here I was taking it very like this, and here, you know, normal, and so now it's increased in sort of angle up here. Like I said, I can touch that up later on. I don't think there's any more microchips. I mean, when you pull it across the paper, and if you cut it, and you kind of lightly do it, it'll snag the paper wherever there's this microchip or any kind of microchipping. So, you can usually feel it. I can feel a rougher area right around this curve. The whole thing about getting an edge out is you're gonna have to. I mean, if you're someone who constantly chips your edges, by doing some kind of a harder use. For me personally, I then like a more fat working angle. And I don't call it the working angle because it's obtuse. I call it a working angle because it's such a wide bulk that the bevel's so short that when something does chip, you don't have to sharpen as much surface area, and the bevel isn't as wide, and you don't have to keep removing as much material. You can just quickly just do this, just actually get to that edge. This side is definitely more, it has more, I say it's catching more. So, yeah, as my experience with this D2 from Lion Steel, it's some tough stuff. I don't know about other D2, but I can take it for now, right now that, wow, Lion Steel D2 is much harder than S30V at a production level. So whatever Lion Steel's doing with their D2. Yeah, I wanted to mention that this being a hostile environment survival tool, I would have preferred it actually not be so hard. Because I mean, you don't need a razor thin EDC edge that you have to maintain at home, or sharpen on diamonds. You want something that's versatile, easy to sharpen in a survival setting. And so that's the first hit I'll give the HEST, is that the D2 steel is so like rough that it's it's not easy to maintain quickly. So that's kind of why, like, Kingdom Armory, he was telling me that he has S30, but he keeps a rock roll actually much lower than what people are used to. And then Jen Zanzo, and a lot of custom mic makers, they use the CPM steel. And even Jim at 364 was telling me the same thing. He was saying that in a comparison between all the steels, 1095, 44C, and of course S30s, people, 5 like hunters, preferred CPM 154cm and 1095 because of this aspect I'm talking about. You can hear it up here. So let's see. There we go. The large chip is predominantly gone. The bevel doesn't look completely jacked up. The reflective portion is about the same height throughout, so that's good. I can sense there's some imbalance, but like I said, this is without stropping compounds. This is just literally with just this one $30 stone. And this is, like I said, a 3-inch area to work with. And I don't do the circular back and forth. I only do it this way. Like I said, I like to keep it controlled. That's my goal. Because I think it's important to maintain the set bevel and not mess it up too far. And I can see, well, let's see. Final cut test, and then I'm done. Let's see. So like I said, this is a 5mm SMS thickness flat ground DPX and D2. Fingers crossed. Okay. I don't know if this is in the camera or not. Not perfect yet, but good nevertheless. Let's see. I can make a circular cut. Let's see. Oh, feel. Oh, whatever. So, oh, note too, man, that is a lot of tip to try to be putting in. That's you know, it's just, there's not even a swedge up here, so when it comes to penetrating, the best you can get is still making a tear. You can see that the tear of this HEST. But I want to say that the cool thing about the HEST is the blade shape, if you actually look at it, is basically a leaf-shaped blade, like a spider coat. So if the tip gets really jacked up, you could sharpen this top part along their stone like this, and bring that tip down and get a finer point for penetrating. So let me see if I can show you one more time. The last piece, it's just not pleasant to stab things with, but in terms of you know, like I said, but if you're going to be jamming it into something, there's no real worry. And you know, a lot of people will do their arm shaving test, but I don't, you know, I do it so much, you can see I don't have much arm hair left to do it with, so I will leave it at that. Let's see. Ultimately, you know, I like sharpening. It just sucks sometimes when, you know, you want it to be perfect, and to get it perfect, you know, the paper's all wet and wrinkly. It is time consuming, but a lot of people always say, like, oh, the razor sharp from Spyderco. No, I feel in that once you get good at sharpening, a homemade edge is much better than like Chris Eve. They're always like, oh, it's just amazing sharpness, the sharpest ever. No, I can get sharper. This, in my experience. I mean, just, you know, don't flame me for that comment. And no, you know, I want to say this, guys, that you know, I make negative comments. It's not negative comments. I'm just saying, you know, like I said, my input. You know, and sometimes it's not scientific, but it is my experience. And I say it, but it is usually targeted at makers, not YouTube community. And for me, you know, I feel like, you know, the YouTube community is the one that's supporting the makers. They're the ones, knife people, the customers are the ones that are being ripped off, or you know, paying and funding basically the creation of these new projects and these companies to continue. So kind of like just how my previous, you know, if you guys know my background, you know, I'm about supporting the community. You know, I want, you know, to also support the YouTube community in the sense that, you know, I'm never gonna like negatively how I say, comment on YouTubers, because that's different. That's like consumer opinion. Corporate, you know, and companies, okay, I don't mind, but general YouTube consumers, you know, everyday people like you and me, you know, I'm going to you know, not go there basically. So definitely I'm more on the people side and less on the corporate side. So because remember, I right now actually I haven't heard from DPX. Senior Jobin did his video and he hasn't heard from them. Yeah, I don't know where they are. And to tell you the truth, I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this knife. And I actually want your guys' opinion on this. I actually think it's pretty decent. It's just kind of in between. It's so odd, you know. But you know, like I said, I don't carry it just yet. But I intended to, and that's why I have this. I traded with Jobin to get this so I could test it, because it's not available yet. That's what they said, but obviously, you know, they gave freebies to certain people, but they didn't give it to NeptuneKnives. So here I am. I want to order, like, I think I'm going to order like 14 of these HESTs, and they wouldn't even let me test it or give me a sample. But, you know, got a way around that. And like I said too, you know, this doesn't have any stropping compound, so that would help. But that's the HEST 2. Let me see if I can show you guys. You can see it just isn't coming off. That's like mucked on there now. But regardless, so I know that took a longer, but you know, I had commentary, and that's it with a DC3 fine stone, 2 fine stone sides. So of course, you know, it's going to take more work, and there was a chip in there, which you could still see a slight shape that I could go in there deeper. But if it's at a point where there's not a reflection forming when I look at it in the light, and it's not damaged, then, you know, and if it cuts, then I'm not gonna, like, on this one, since it is just a tester, I'm not gonna like keep trying to like make it look pretty because I know it's gonna beat it more. Okay, thank you.